Welcome to the fourth episode of the Marketing Talks podcast. On this podcast, we will be hosting some amazing talents from our marketing community, like these beautiful gentlemen with us today. We have Basel, my co-host, we have Levy, and we have Nelson. I will give you some time to introduce yourselves, starting with you, Basel. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Basel. I have been working in marketing field for the past 20 years. Have done the marketing from the old-fashioned marketing all the way to the digital marketing, the modern marketing, the very, very scattered marketing market or marketing activities nowadays. That's about myself.
Okay, and what about you, Levy? I know you a little bit, but I know a little bit from before. You gave us a webinar on the community, and we'll talk about this in a little bit. But please do introduce yourselves to our viewers and listeners.
My name is Levy Gal. I'm a Hungarian brand addict and a professional.
Brand addict?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I built up more than 100 brands all over the world. I made 17 radio stations, some TV shows, festivals, airlines, you name it. I'm also an author of a book, what is Power of Branding, you'll find in Amazon. And I'm also a martial artist. I'm doing martial art Aikido for 3 decades now.
Nice. Don't mention numbers so that we don't expose our ages.
Started when I was young.
What about you, Nelson?
Hi, guys. I'm Nelson, so I'm French. Like European as well. French. You're going to hear it a lot. That's something we cannot do against. So I'm very sorry about that. I spent all my career almost like in marketing. I'm now Chief Marketing Officer. My background is mainly FMCG, Fortune 500. I worked like almost 15 years in Procter & Gamble, then in Nestle, and recently in the agency side, where I used to now do consulting for as well like big companies. I'm a father with 2 kids.
God bless them.
Yeah, thank you. Very happy here. I'm in the region since 3 years. Very lively region, very appreciated, and I'm very happy to meet you all, you guys, today.
And thank you so much for making time to be with us. And thank you for arranging for this episode. Honestly, he did a massive work to just get everyone on board, and get everything organized and supporting on this. So I have a question that is in general for actually the 3 of you, if you want to discuss. It's an open discussion. A lot of brands lose their focus in their marketing by drifting away from their own identity. Why do you think this could happen? Do you want to start as a brand addict?
So they're losing their identity mostly, I think, because they just want to solving the problems, what they think the real problem, that the real problem is not there.
So they're not finding out what the real problem is?
No, they're just thinking most of the time, they're just thinking what the real problem with the customers, but they're just thinking. Most of the time, they never ask. That's why they fail.
So they're assuming on behalf of the customer.
Yeah, it's like I invite you to, let's say, to a dinner, but I never ask, do you have any preferences? Do you have any allergy or something? And I'm just like cooking something, this is so nice. But you won't eat it because you don't like it.
Yeah, okay, I understand.
Mostly, and also they just want to fit into the system. They're seeing something is trendy, let's say
everyone is doing this, let me do this as well.
Yeah, but it's also if you just start following something, you're losing your own identity. If I'm trying to, let's say, to dressing up from tomorrow as Nelson, I'm just like this Nelson second. I'll never be the number 1. That's why they're losing the identity and also it's way too hard. But actually,
I love the confidence.
Yeah. So this is how they're losing the identity when they just start copying. With so many of them, even the car factories, even the watchmakers, all the others, just like, what is the trend? I'm using the trend, and they just like being just a copycat.
Even the companies are more driven by sales and revenue. So when it comes to that aspects, they lose the attention of taking care of their customers, what the customer needs, how they react to the brand itself. So this is also like, I think it is one of the key factors that
I will tell you a stat. Actually, I read recently on the Market HubSpot. it's like 78% of small and middle business are actually losing money because of wrong strategy in marketing.
Wow.
So that means basically, and coming back to your point, I think it's very short terms oriented, very trendy oriented. So everyone is doing TikTok. So now they go for TikTok, but they have no clue if TikTok is relevant for their audience or for their customer.
Absolutely.
Or they're going to do influencer marketing, right? Or they're going to partner with a marketing influencer online, which has like, I don't know, 1 million views. But is this person relevant for them? Maybe not. Maybe it is. But the problem is, and that goes back to what I've learned 20 years ago, which is like define what is your brand mission and vision, right? Where your brand needs to go, what is important for your brand. And this is grounded into your consumers, right? They really aspire to have. Obviously, they evolve. I mean, we all evolve, right? We are not the same 20 years ago. So
we're not the same people 5 years ago.
Exactly. But still, there is some pattern, right? Like people who will buy, I don't know, like Nike, they want to buy experience, right? And they are actually going to this type of experience. Now, how do you serve the experience menu might be different. You can go through, I don't know, event, you can go through sponsorship, you can go through partnership. And that evolve, right? Maybe one partner is much more, let's say, in today than he used to be 5 years ago. But the essence is the same. And the problem, especially with, let's say, young brands, is they try to navigate through all those trends without getting what I call the cap, right? I'm coming from the seaside, so I like to speak with maritime terms. But this is important.
It's like small fish fighting in an ocean full of whales, basically.
Yes, exactly. And then they burn their wings because like they spend money there without any results or barely results. I mean, this satisfies usually the finance guy because they are looking very short term about, let's say, raising the bar.
The part where he's talking about the revenue. Focus on the revenue and the income.
But long term doesn't make sense, and you don't stand for anything because you want to stand for everything. And that's the problem, I would say.
Consistency also the problem. Because if you're not consistent in your brand and in your message, as you said, they won't recognize you.
Consistency is
They
key.
won't recognize you at all. I just used to make the explanation like American stuff, like if someone just following the trends is like you going with a jet ski. It's a fun. But you just like circling around a 100-meter circle, you just sweat, you tired as hell after 1 hour, and you're going nowhere.
Exactly.
But the trend who is consistent is like a tank ship or it's just like a cargo ship. Don't move. They just set the direction. They just set where it's just like it's north 270, and they just go.
Doesn't matter. Cap. That's
Absolutely.
the cap.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter. It's rain or shine or it's just like thunder or nothing. They just go, and as soon as possible, they will just read the.
And actually, you may navigate through the storms, right? Like if you look at sailing, right? You go to a specific point, but you need to avoid storm or go through the winds, right? So that's okay. But the end goal is the same.
The strategy and the direction, and the vision at least.
Exactly.
It's there. Basically, the brand would lose its vision if it's like doing like the jet ski, going around and around. I call it the hamster wheel, personally. I have a different name for it, maybe because I'm tiny. I can compare myself to a hamster. I can be like, a brand could be like in a hamster wheel and just doing the same mistake over and over again without noticing that they're doing this mistake. And this is actually the main reason why I wanted to do this kind of a podcast, because really don't want people to fuck up their marketing anymore, literally.
Exactly. But adding to this, like recently I had a discussion with my friends. We're talking about now recently the organization or the companies that are the last people to involve in their decision and the strategies is the marketing people.
Yeah.
They take decision and then everything, and then at the end they invite the marketing people just to implement.
Yeah.
But it is okay, but this is your vision, this is your mission, this is where you want to achieve. But marketing wise, it could work, it doesn't work because you have different goals, we are not aligned. So
exactly.
This is one of the
when it comes for restaurants, for example, it's also the same thing. They open a restaurant, they create the concept, they do the branding or what they call the branding, and then they come and they hire someone marketing, yalla, market my brand. Like, your brand needs a lot of work.
Exactly.
You know? Like, you should have involved me before you actually took the location, because the location is one of the first elements when it comes to a marketing a restaurant in the first place.
I think it touched a very important point, I think, is the definition of marketing.
Yes.
Nowadays. It's like everyone believes they are great marketers because they have done, I don't know, like a Google ads or like a campaign on YouTube or whatever, right? And I think it goes beyond marketing, right? For me, there is like what I call the specialists, which will help you implement campaigns and get the best out of your money, the ROI and so on, which are amazing people. But those people need kind of a strategy and a guide, right? And they need to, it's a bit like an orchestra, right? Those guys may be very good at trombone, but they will not have the full melody, right? And you need like, I don't know, the piano, the chords, you need everything to make it like sync. And if you take in isolation only one instrument or one person, you don't get the same melody and the same song and the same, let's say, masterpiece as you will take like the whole group together work in sync. And coming back to your example, like, and I have a big topic on this one, which is like marketing needs to sit at the boardroom. And I believe marketing needs to sit at the boardroom.
Let's repeat it again. Marketing needs to sit at the boardroom. Please focus about
and
this.
not the last one
to
be there, because this is very important. And that's a bit the guardian of the galaxy, I call this, right? We make sure that everything syncs. And being like now a chief marketing officer, you realize that actually one of the only functions that can influence other functions toward the goal is marketing. And because we have very tight link with sales, very tight link with finance,
distribution,
supply, I mean, everyone. I mean,
innovation, R&D.
Exactly. And if you don't make sure like all those functions are somehow aligned, and the only, let's say, I would say, common denominator of all of this is usually marketing, because we touch everything.
Exactly.
Right?
You need to bring feedback from the customers and give it back to the R&D or to the operations team.
Because if you look at KPIs, like very simple KPI as a marketing leader, what is it? It's revenue, share, and profit, right? That's three KPIs. And we share those KPI with everyone. Like profit is a supply problem. It's a CFO problem, so a finance problem. Revenue is a sales problem as well, or sales, let's say, objective. So all those common elements make it, let's say, important that marketing sits at the boardroom.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's very important.
But most of the companies failing in the step 0, whereas all the departments things like they are the most important.
Yeah.
So as your explanation is like this is some kind of I just the big band or just like the
orchestra.
The orchestra, right? So first of all, you need to just decide what is the main behind idea of it, right? So just
what's
like
the
rock
melody?
band. What is it? Not just strategy. It's just like what is the main idea behind it? Because strategy is like, let's say, step number 5. So we just need to decide: it's a rock band, it's a folklore music, it's an orchestra. What is the music we want to play and for who? How big is that band and what is the event? And then we started to create the idea, the vision.
And what is the unique about this music?
Or unique selling point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The story. What is the main idea? What I'm thinking? Okay, I will be a rock star with it. What is the number one thing? Oh, it's a good idea. It's not just like a copy idea, as I mentioned before.
Yeah.
So if you have the concept will define all the other steps going forward.
Yes.
Yeah. So Levy and Nelson, from your perspective, what are the main differences between marketing generalist and the marketing expert from your point of view?
I can talk about, let's say, on the branding side, because I'm doing more branding and just want to clear up the first, like in my experiences, I saw most of the people think like marketing is a magic rug. And you can just sweep everything under the magic rug. Everything is just like, everything is marketing. And if you need to solve something before we just getting the money from the clients, it's marketing. It's not. We started the idea and also with the branding. And then comes in the row in the marketing, and then this works perfectly fine together. Then comes the sales. This is how it works.
The sales is the end result of all the efforts that we do.
The sales cannot work without this.
Exactly.
Cannot work. They just do anything, all the tips and tricks and all the advertisement and everything. If the marketing is wrong because they build up on the wrong brand, they fail all the time.
But sales and marketing should be aligned. Like they should have similar goals, not sales. They have one goal and marketing.
So just back to the back topic is like everybody needs to be on the board.
Every function has to be connected with each other.
You know what? They're thinking differently. The branding expert thinking differently because they just focusing, let's say, how to make it trustable, how to make it the brand very stable. And the marketing thinking, how we just put this thing, what is very nice and very unique, how we put on the market. That's what I call marketing.
Exactly.
And the sales, just making how we can make it way more bigger profit in different markets or different continents and different stuff.
What about you, Nelson? What do you think is the difference between generalists and marketing specialists?
It's a very interesting question. Thanks, Basel. But I think to build on this one, I would say I don't like the word marketing in general because it can be, as I told you, everything and nothing.
There's a bad misconception about marketing. They think it's an Instagram post.
For me it's more like,
It's magic wand. Marketing.
We make sales.
It's done.
Now, for me, it's more about, let's say, brand management in general, or like category management, or like anything. And I think that's what I would call a generalist, right? It's a person who can navigate through all the different aspects of a brand, right?
Who believes, who knows everything. This is the generalist, right?
I think we understand everything, but are humble enough to take on board people who are specialists into the different area.
You don't think so? The generalist is like kind of micromanaging.
No.
He just wanted to.
I consider myself as a generalist.
I think they can create just a strategy in general for any brand, but they don't have the specialty per se. Yeah. Let's say automotive marketing is different than F&B marketing.
Because a generalist is for me just like the guy in the same orchestra who want to play in any or every instrument.
No, that's a pretender.
kind of, but the generalist means like they are afraid to being a specialist. This is how I just define it in the best way.
I will do it differently. I mean, maybe because I consider myself as a generalist, right? I had the chance towards my career to work on all aspects of, let's say, brand building and marketing,
projects and industries,
and touching everything in a way. And I've never considered myself a social media expert or a branding expert or like a digital marketing expert. But I have very strong knowledge, and I can understand. I'm a bit. I see the generalist more as not the guy who wants to play every instrument, but rather the guy who commands the orchestra. Not the composer, but the guy who commands the orchestra. Right? And you have different, let's say, specialties, right? You have the pianist, the trombone, whatever. And these guys know every single instrument. Not he can play every single instrument perfectly, but he knows, let's say, what it will bring to the overall picture.
The characteristics, right?
Yes.
I love how we're comparing marketing to orchestra and music. I love music.
I love music as well. So I'm actually a trombone player. So
nice.
That's why you will use
I learned piano when I was a kid. So I can read a little bit of notes and everything, but I never became an expert. It was like either my education or my piano classes and my parents
Actually, the piano is one of the most generalist instruments when you think about it. But yeah, that's how I see it, right? And when I was, for example, in Oral-B in Procter & Gamble, I was leading the brand for the whole region, Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And in my team, I had very, for example, consumer analyst experts, right? People who really go deep dive into consumers, deep roots, analysis. I had people on branding, mostly agency, but specialized in branding. I had people specialized in e-commerce, in sales, in marketing, and so on, right? My role was to make sure all those people speak the same language in a way, and play in orders. Back to your point, right? So that we are not launching a digital campaign without having a strong USP, a strong mission, a strong benefit, a strong brand, or whatever.
Always going to be the offline activation or whatever it is.
Exactly, and it's important. That's why I like to speak about framework. But in my framework, usually you start with basically what I call the CAP. The direction, where do we go, the mission, the vision, the branding is important, the concept. You nail it, you test it with consumers before investing any dollar in marketing advertising.
Exactly, yeah.
That's why also market research and consumer analysis, consumer behavior analysis is as important as, actually it's more important than
it's actually 80%
sitting down
of the
and creating a
success.
strategy and brainstorming. Yeah. Before brainstorming, you need to understand what the consumer
because
wants.
The impact you can have is much higher, right? What kind of marketing specialists do? Maybe if you think 3 different, let's say, Instagram experts, right? What they're gonna bring on top is what? A bit more reach, a bit more ROI, maybe more, but at the big scheme of things, with your overall budget that is spread across, I don't know, TV, marketing, digital, and so on, the impact might be quite narrow, right? Doesn't mean I want the best, I don't want the best Instagram expert, right? I want the best Instagram expert because every single, let's say, ROI combined make it a better picture. But if you didn't invest proper time, effort, and money into, let's say, defining your message, defining why it's important to those type of consumers to have this message, and what is my own USP, my own innovation, why my product is better or my service is better, that's 80% of the value you bring to the market, right? Because like you will have as well, let's say what I call as well pull marketing. So people will come to you, not you advertise to them and try to, let's say, because you will reach
the pull strategy.
Exactly. And that's what you want to create ultimately. But this, you create it up front. You don't create it, let's say, when it's already at the campaign and your message is there and so on. Maybe you go viral. Yeah, 1 out of 1 million campaign will go viral, right? So I will not bet on this. I'm not a gambler usually with business. And that's important.
But if they went viral, either it's they did a good job in marketing or did something, a marketing tactic, at least if it's not a full-on strategy, that created this, or they discovered by accident a gap. For example, not a paid ad, but the Dubai chocolate craze that happened, fixed chocolate. It's not something that was 100% done to go viral, but it happened that there was a gap in the market. People like to see something different and unique. And they created the FOMO effect. Everyone knows what the FOMO effect is, right? It's like basically
fear of missing out.
Fear of missing out. So the fact that you only have a 5-minute window to order, everyone will go crazy over this. This is creating a demand.
Just one additional thing to Nazan's. Very important in the beginning to define the goals. Because they just failed many times. Oh, I want, let's say, 1 million views on the Instagram. Then what? Then what's happening? I know some influencer who has 6 million followers, and when she's tried to sell her own T-shirts, he just sell it 16 pieces.
16?
16 pieces.
1/6?
Yes.
To our friends?
Yeah, it's $20 or something. So not that price.
I mean, I sold more T-shirts from Yalla
Even
Habibi.
even today.
Way more than 300 maybe.
Absolutely. So we just need to define the goals, what we want to have. We just need to define the metrics.
Yeah.
Let's say it's money, it's followers, it's like email subscription. What is it?
Yeah.
Then we just get this goal. We know where we go.
Actually, Levy, since we're with you now, you did a webinar with the marketing community a while back, and the topic of the webinar was very interesting. How to sell a banana for $100,000. And we're not talking about the painting thing, the art piece. No. We're talking about an actual business. So
it was $120,000 in the art Basel in Miami.
Yeah. But what was like the idea behind creating this kind of a program or webinar to educate people on how to sell a banana? I'm not asking you to tell us to spill the secret now, but how to sell a banana for $100,000. Isn't that a big stretch? What do you think?
It's about how you deliver and you sell the idea to the people.
What's your secret?
It is like putting the idea in front of the consumer and selling it. The way how you sell it, it will matter here.
My only goal was just showing the people the real power of the branding.
Power of branding.
Absolutely. I just wrote a book about this one as well. So the main secret sauce is not a big deal. The main secret sauce is just create something what is truly unique, what you made it. And create a brand behind of this, because a brand just gives this, let's say to a product, let's say to a service, gives the people to more reliability, so they trust. The first step, if you just buy a banana, let's say on the market for $1 done, why you want to pay double the price for $2 for the same banana? Because there is a sticker on it. Let's say it's like, I don't know the name
organic
of it.
Or
whatever. No, it's a company name. Let's say it's just like, it's Turea's banana. Why? Because of the safety. People at the end want to buy safety. Because they say,
it's like
and they see
X
that
coffee
this is
versus Y coffee.
Absolutely. This is your brand. If I have anything, let's say to allergic something, I can call someone, a real people, and I have say, okay, this is my problem, and please let's solve it. This is how the trust build up.
Safety plays a role.
Absolutely. So they just buying the safety, even if you're just buying a high-priced item, but it's just like luxurious status. They want to buy the safety. What will they think about me? I want to be safe on that very high position there. So if you created a brand and created your story and your unique method how to sell it, you can scale up as much as you want.
I think that's, as you were speaking, I was thinking to myself, like, this is my perspective about fashion, actually.
Right.
When I'm buying something from a good brand, I know that it should last. And if it shouldn't last, then I'll have to call them and be like, hey guys, I just paid like $200 something on pants. So why did it rip off 2 days after I bought it, you know? So they can be credible.
I saw a shoe nowadays. It's an Italian brand. I won't say the name of it. And suddenly, it's a sneaker, something like this. And they selling a very high price point. It's like 5 or 6 times higher than the average sports sneakers. I'm asking why? Not just because of the story, not just because of the quality of the ingredients,
and
but
not just the design.
Design is very simple and it looks like used. It looks like you take it out for trash, literally. You know, I think, what is the name of it?
We'll talk about this after.
And then just asking why? Because they repairing. If you want, they changing the sole. If you want, they changing anything of it.
Okay. So you can just send it back
for repair. So they just, but also the safety is last long for, let's say, 10 years. Not just after 1 year, after 1 season, I drop the trash. I want to use it and I will because it's quality. That's it.
Yeah.
In summary, so it is like value proposition and how you position yourself at the end. This is how you'll be able to sell whatever it is, whatever you have as an item or product with X factor amount of dollars.
I used to say quality is the best business plan. So if you're just focusing on, I used to say I spend as a brand expert 90% of my time about creating the concept and 10% all the others. Visuals, visibility, branding IDs, positioning, pricing, 10%. If the concept is so too good, you win.
This is how actually I do it as well when I'm creating a restaurant. Because when I'm creating a concept of a restaurant, it takes me a lot of time to research, to study the culture of X cuisine, figure out what are the main elements so that I can come up directly with, okay, we need to do this for the design, we need to do this for the interior, we need to do this for the fabric, and then everything just falls into place easily, as simple as this.
If you define your main idea, main concept, everything will be so easy.
Exactly. But that, of course, happens after doing a lot of research, right? What do you think, Nelson?
No, doing a lot of research for sure. You need first to understand, let's say, your market, right? So both your, let's say, future client or consumers, customers, if you're in B2B, and your competitors, and where you want to operate, right? So that's the 3 factors you need to look into. Consumers will tell you, okay, what is the current needs or potential niche, right? Competitors will tell you, okay, maybe they've tried this one before and they failed because of wrong message or wrong approach, or they are moving into a different direction that might be as well interesting. And that will help you differentiate yourself. Because I think it's very important if you want to create value. I mean, if you want to position yourself as a, let's say, a premium brand or a premium, let's say, service, you need to have something different. Is it safety? Is it quality? Is it repairable? For me, it's very important because like this is unique and it is claimable. In a way, you can build something around that. And then you will have your market, right? So how relevant is your market for your brand, right? You may have some brands that are very, let's say, successful in US, for example, let's call it like that will fail totally.
That will fail miserably in the UAE, for example, or Saudi.
Or like in Saudi and so on, because, I don't know, they are like too fancy or too fat.
They didn't understand their market.
Exactly. I think one of the very important failure like this is, for example, McDonald's in France when they started, right? They started with the American product, which had like in a Coke, I don't know how many grams of sugar, but like it was like, I don't know, 30, 40 grams of sugar. And their burger was so fat, it was half of the fat. Like it was like, and France was in a way like a bit more about healthy food, you know, traditional food and so on. And they came exactly with the same recipe. Miserable failure. Up to the point that they actually now, let's say, create their recipe in France for other countries.
Yeah.
Like which are, I would not say healthy, but healthier. cleaner, like less sugar.
Cleaner in comparison to their standard.
Exactly.
More defendable.
Yes.
More defendable.
Yeah, like and when you see the positioning of the brand, it moves from, let's say, fast food, American, very whatever, to something which is like playful for kids.
Like they did like a little bit of chicken gourmet, something.
Exactly,
at some point,
a bit more gourmet. They have their signature burger, actually, that now you have it in UAE.
Yes.
Started in France.
Yeah.
With like local recipe, local, let's say, adaptation.
The adaptation
It's very important.
These players, let's say, as you mentioned, the American players, things like they are the power players. So they have all the power, all the money, and they can change any game in any place.
But it doesn't work.
And this is wrong.
This is totally wrong. Totally wrong. Yeah, of
absolutely
course.
Wrong.
And this applies to any brand coming from anywhere in the world to anywhere else in the world. You cannot go to any country or to any geographic new location without actually understanding your consumer. Full stop. This is from my perspective, at least, because Chinese market is totally different than the Arab market, totally different than the US market.
Different cultures,
As a simple explanation. Just like African markets, for example, are different than here.
Absolutely.
I would say, I mean, I've led brand launch across different regions and countries.
Actually, yeah, you did some global work before.
So global and regional, actually. Actually, launched Oral-B here in the UAE back 2011, something. And I think what is very different might be, let's say, the how-to, might not be the product itself, the core benefit, because in the case we are talking about healthcare, oral care, I mean, this stay very relevant because it's tapped into, let's say, generic needs of human being.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So everyone wants to avoid cavities or tartar or plaque or loose teeth, right? At one point, this is pretty, let's say, well acknowledged, right? But the way you will bring it to the market, the way you will communicate this benefit might be very different. And I think coming back to consumers, there is as well a very important point, which is education and understanding at what stage a population of a group of population is educated about your product.
And it's educatable.
And is educatable, and how to educate them, right? Because, and that thing is this is the biggest mistake like big brands do. It's like they go to the market assuming everyone is at the same level.
Yeah.
In terms of readiness to have this type of product.
To accept the product.
Exactly. Like when I launched electric toothbrushes in Eastern Europe, like the penetration was 0%. Like no one have a clue about this product. And actually a toothbrush was costing...
Why do you think?
Because it was never arrived there. I mean, no player were there. And actually the average spending on the category was $1 for a manual toothbrush, right?
So they would not spend money on an electric toothbrush.
They didn't know why, right? So beyond, we may have the best product, like a product that was very successful in US, in Europe, and so on. But like somehow it was not fit because they were missing a big important part, which is education of the benefit and why they should spend now $50 instead of $1 on a same, let's say, end benefit, which is, let's say, brushing teeth.
Yeah.
Right? And this is where I think education play a big role, because then we the first thing we do is like we start educating the influencers, which in our case were the dentist. But it's a slow burner. So you cannot go and put like a lot of, I don't know, Instagram, TV, print, whatever, without doing this fundamental work of educating, let's say, some group of
showing the
people
differences
about the benefit of your product and why it's important, right? And often, and especially small brands, forget about this educational phase and at which stage the consumers are, right? It's the same with electric cars. They try to go everywhere, but like, imagine like there was a study
recently. Imagine it coming to Lebanon. We don't have electricity in the country.
That's the point, right? Even in France, right? They were calculating if like 30% of the population replace their current car with an electric car during the summer holidays peak, where everyone is on the highway.
Yeah.
There will be 7 hours waiting queue at the tank station to actually charge your product.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So the country is not ready to move to
there's no infrastructure.
Yeah.
Just like in Lebanon, there's literally no electricity for you to actually charge your car in the first place. Exactly. So this term education that you just mentioned, don't you believe that it falls under the requirement of marketing in the first place?
It is.
Communication,
I mean, definitely.
workshops.
Definitely.
First, the brand defining the tone and the voice, because the branding is based on how to build relationship in any level of the customers. And this is, you just like, pointing the main thing behind it. If you just can make it a very nice conversation between the right customers and they will understand you, it's done. They buy. They buy. When they understand who are you, when they can just start resonating with you because of the voice and the tone, they buy. And then it's coming the education. It's like, why is good for you? What is the long-term benefit of this?
Education is very important, especially in the healthcare sector, because it will tell you about the diseases, the precautions, how to avoid those, how to if you follow a lifestyle or you follow they take care of yourself in different manner, like exercising, limiting your sugar and something like that, you'll avoid a lot of a lot of complications in the long run. So in the field of healthcare, definitely the education is really essential. And
but it falls under marketing, right?
Of course, we have to highlight this to the public.
So basically, marketing is like what?
The doctor.
It's like the fuel for a car.
From my perspective,
exactly. From my perspective, marketing is like a fuel for a car.
Definitely.
You can have a Ferrari, but if you don't fuel it on a regular basis, doesn't serve its function.
Yes.
Won't work.
It wouldn't work. طيب, Nelson, we did speak earlier about something called the fractional CMO. We had this conversation, and I think it might be interesting to tell us a little bit more about it, as much as you can.
Your favorite topic.
Yeah, I know. I think, coming back to the stat I was telling you before, like the 78% of actually marketing investment fail for small and middle business. One of the reasons behind is actually that they are lacking all what we were saying before marketing, which is branding, which is strategy, which is mission, vision, let's say what I call who inspired. The concept of the brand. Exactly, what I call who inspired business challenge, right? I want to turn this consumer to do this by doing this. That's very important. You may have like different strategy like this before moving to actually the marketing plan execution, right? And the marketing campaign and so on. And in France, we say it's putting the beef before the carriage, right? In a way, which is like trying to push money.
Putting the what before the what?
Beef, the bull before the carriage. Okay. It's like we say that in France, and that's where I think the fractional CMO can help, let's say, small and middle business, because what they are actually lacking, and coming back to marketing needs to be at the boardroom, or let's say close to the managing directors, the CEOs, like the leaders of the company. They lack, let's say, senior expertise, senior leadership in marketing, right? Consultant that can not only consult, because the problem of consultant, especially for small and middle business, is cost. Right, I don't know if you engage with like big consulting company.
I'm a consultant. I don't know.
No, but I would say more like a big consulting company, like this BCG, this KPMG, and so on. It's like the first email, hey, I need you to come, is 1 million. Like it's the ticket.
Yeah, no. We didn't get to that point yet.
No.
Hopefully we will.
But that's I think one of the different elements, which is like how you can help small and middle business develop and scale for a sustainable growth. And I am insisting in sustainable growth, not like a short-term wins, towards, let's say, a mission, having like a part-time senior leader helping them.
So that's the fractional CMO, someone who's a part-timer who will go into a brand and help them create their strategy.
Can be a brand, can be a service, can be whatever. I mean, like, a company. Then the campaign and the activation might differ, but I think the strategic part of it is very important. It's not only doing the strategy, right? It's implementing it.
Training the team, maybe mentoring the team.
Leading the team, complementing the team if we are missing some. It can be complement with hiring, or it can be complement with freelancers, like specialists we were talking before. Bringing the right people in the equation and helping them, let's say, move towards it. As well, I think something which is very important is about how you, coming back to the orchestra, is how you can bring everyone together, right? And often there is some, let's say, different forces.
How everybody pushing in the same direction.
Yeah,
exactly.
Sometimes there's conflict, of course. Often. And there's conflict of interest, resistance to change. Every company has
Because I am more important than you.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's interest, personal gain. Sometimes it's politics in a business. If it's a big company, corporate, sometimes politics get involved.
You know where it often starts? And coming back to your point, I think it's often starts with misaligned goals.
Yeah.
It's like what companies often miss is kind of a clear direction with clear measures, right? I will go there and we need to get, I don't know, 1 million, right? But everyone needs to have the same 1 million in their work plan and in their objective. And you need to have, I don't know, if there is an incentive in the company, those incentives needs to be on the same goal, right? And you will figure it out that actually in most of the businesses, it's totally different. These guys may have an objective on something about concept. These guys may have an objective about the numbers of followers. You may have an objective about, the cost per acquisition. I mean, I make it up, right? But like, no one will have the same objective. Imagine we are in the same room, in the same business.
Yeah.
You're going to do something on your side. You're going to do something on your side. You're going to do something on your side. You will go back to your boss or the leader of the company saying, hey, look, I've done something great today. I've delivered my objective. Okay, you deliver, you get your bonus. Everyone is happy at the end. What is the final picture,
final
right?
result, yeah.
It's like you improve a bit there, you improve there, you improve there, you improve there, but like the overall picture didn't move a thing. Right? Because like no one was working on the same thing. And that's, I think, for me, the role of fractional CMO that can...
To be a leader.
To lead and help them, let's say, move to the next, let's say, step, right?
Yeah.
And with the benefit of the cost, because you cannot, let's say, usually have a very senior leader on the part-time, right? If you hire like a CMO or something, it costs you like 200, 300 like per year, dollar, right? And it's a huge cost, right? And that's how the idea came. It's very popular in the US. Actually, now, like more than 80% of the small and middle business are using fractional CXO. So it can work.
CXO or CMO.
It can work across different functions, right? But the idea
technically, it's outsourcing a high-level talent.
Exactly, that's the idea.
With the fraction,
right?
with the fraction.
With the fraction of the cost.
This is the fractional CMO comes from hiring a big talent or a guru. But you're paying.
You can't have them full time for many reasons, including costs.
And sometimes you don't need to have them full time because, like,
you just need them to come in 2 days a week, just monitor, supervise, mentor the team.
I mean, first, I think it's a bit more at the beginning because usually you need to do this
to put down the structure, understand the client needs.
But then, then it's a management, right? As you will have like a manager, and the idea as well behind is like, for me, it's a new door to being hired in the company in a way. Right, because like when you place a fractional CMO, the company is happy with him. Company is growing, so maybe
when they grow, they can afford. Actually,
they can afford, and they know the person, right? They've been helping from the beginning, developing it, and I think, and this is exactly the path like most of the, let's say, more mature industries and countries are going towards, right? Which is like more I would say, the individualization of the work and how you can, let's say, take a bit like Chipotle, right? Take what you need at the right time. And for companies itself, it's much more convenient because it's like, first, it's not on the payroll. And we know like investors and so on often look at the payroll. And two, it's like flexible in a way, right? They can start with, 3 days, 4 days a week, a month, or whatever. I mean, or 2 days a month.
Depends on the agreement.
Depends on the needs, depends on the, let's say, the mission you have to fulfill and so on. And at the end, everyone is happy. Like the company is set for success. That's obviously the idea. And actually, the fractional CMO is incentivized on the growth of the company because the more the company grows, the more actually is growing, right? And the more, let's say, involved it gets, right? Because it's a kind of pay-as-you-go model in a way, right? At the beginning, you chip in a bit. It's a bit of investment at the beginning, but obviously then you have a snowball effect, right?
Exactly. So, Levy, for you,
tell me.
And in your journey as a brand strategist, what were the main challenges that you faced, especially in the UAE here?
I think the watch market is oversaturated.
Watch market.
Absolutely.
Because you're working on a watch brand.
Yes. And we can say any brand. We can say any market is kind of oversaturated now because everything and every factory just think like, I can do something because I want to take something out from the market. Let's say I'm just making a super very niche, let's say even a shoe business or watch business, anything. But I used to say there is no oversaturated market if you are very good at that. So if you are on the level of the number 2 and number 3 or number 4 or number 1, there is no oversaturated market. If you're leading, let's say, the Formula 1, who cares how many of them behind, right?
Exactly.
So you just make yourself unique as possible. You just make yourself original as possible, what is very hard. And this is how all the concept is coming in. So if you can create, and if you just bring it into your real story with your experiences from the real life, because you say there's no B2B or B2C. It's just like age to age, human to human at the end. So we just want to buy from a human. We just want to buy to something who can really understand my problem, my needs, all my stocks and all my problems.
Nice. طيب, in one word, because we only have a limited time left for us,
Exactly.
in one word, what can you tell to our marketing community who are going to be watching this? And of course, the non-marketing people who are going to be watching this. One word. Levy.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Don't overcomplicate it. Interesting. Very nice. What about you, Nelson?
It will be 4 words.
Okay, we don't mind it. I mean, it's a statement.
Yeah, it's the one I really like is what I call step back to step in. So
Interesting.
always look back, because most often people are like in the
circle,
work,
in
like
the moment.
circle,
in the
inside
moment
circle,
and so
yes.
on. So I think one of the best advice I got from a mentor is really this one: like step back, look at the situation, analyze,
Full picture.
look at the different.
Reflect.
Yeah, big picture.
Yeah, I think it's big picture, but still being conscious of where you are, right? Isn't it? Because I've seen some people with big pictures. Oh my God. No, it's really like looking sometimes back, look at the overall, all the aspects of your marketing or what we discussed today, not only the campaigns, but everything, right? The branding, the
This is what I
positioning, the
said, because
consumer.
you're just afraid how big is the picture, you start like overcomplicating
Yeah,
it.
sometimes we'll get
Yeah.
like too overwhelming. It will get overwhelming.
That's why they're overcomplicating it. Just take one
Keep
step.
it simple.
Just take one step in front of that.
Exactly.
I like this one. Step back to step in. Very nice. What about you, Basel?
For me, like brands that really connect in deeper level, they win by building trust, delivering
connections.
value, creating authentic connection with their consumer or customers. Really, they own it. Exactly.
Yeah, I think I agree with the three of you actually.
What will be yours?
Mine?
Yeah.
For marketing, know your customers. If you don't know your customers, you don't know what you're doing.
Exactly.
You can't know the product, you can't know the price, you can't know how to reach them, you can't know how to sell them, you can't know how to market to them. Nothing.
You know what we say in PNG? Consumer is the boss.
Well, in
That's-
F&B, we say the customer is always right for many reasons, including this. Like, if they don't like this taste, they don't like this taste. We will have to find a way either to accommodate or not expect this specific customer to come back to your restaurant again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Since we have still little time,
Yeah.
we have a $1 million question.
Oppa.
We need to clarify this to the audience.
Who will pay this 1 million first?
The audience. The audience.
$1 million?
We are paying it to the audience, huh?
Oh, great,
Because
great.
we need your point
So
of
we're
view.
giving a
definitely.
$1 million value to them now.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so is it a $1 million or 1 million lira?
lira. Yeah, dollar. أكيد not lira.
That's like $10 now.
أكيد not lira, yeah. We need to tell our audience the difference between branding and marketing. This is really
Branding versus marketing. We have
Yes.
both. Branding,
Exactly.
marketing. Branding.
This is the $1 million because most of the people they just want to get revenue without building a brand. Okay, but
Or create a logo without an actual brand.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we need your point of view, Goros.
I have a very nice explanation to this. Marketing is when you ask someone out for a date. The branding is the reason to say yes.
Oh!
It's about dating and yeah, exactly.
So we're just creating the reason why they trust me. And if they trust me, the marketing can solve the problem easily. This is-
Nelson, what do you think?
Nail it. No, it's very true. I mean, for me, I would say they are complementary and are actually working in sync. And if they don't, this is where you have the problem, right? So, and they work in order. So always start with the branding, what you want to stand for, right? So who you are.
The values.
The branding is who you are, right? So what do you bring as values, as benefit, as unique selling proposal? The marketing is how you will communicate it to the people, right? And the right people, right? Because some of them might not be interested in your restaurant or in your product or whatever.
Or the electric toothbrush.
And the electric toothbrush as well. So it works everywhere. I mean, I think for me, it's really about the who, the what, the how, right? So the who is your consumer, the what is your branding, the how is your marketing.
For me, the marketing is the existence of the brand. Because as you said, marketing will give you reasons why to date, while branding is the marketing is giving you the reasons to ask, but branding is like why you're dating us. So
or you're using this product.
Yes, exactly. So this is from my perspective. I feel like it is complementing each other, and somehow marketing play a bigger role in brand to highlight it and bring the visibility to the audience.
But if you have some questions, let's say you are not expert, you are not professional, you just want to start your own brand, your own company, I suggest ask experts. What is the real difference between on that specific market, the branding and the market?
Or ask ChatGPT.
Won't help.
That's why I'm joking. It won't help as much.
I would say
find a mentor at least.
Definitely. The artificial intelligence, as I said, is like not artificial, it's average intelligence.
Yeah.
So they just use all of the data what they found on the internet. Won't create anything new.
Yep. It's not creative. Yeah? That's a very important point to nail it.
It's below average.
It's never gonna come with innovative ideas. It's gonna summarize what is existing, do some research if there is some research available, but it will never come with a concept or like a new idea of brand or new anything. That's very important.
It could give you the guideline on how to create a strategy, but it will not create a strategy, for example.
No. Depends on your
strategy for you. Yeah.
Depends on your prompt.
I agree to disagree.
First, you need to know the difference between the plan and the strategy, because whole two different things.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. And that's a whole different topic for another episode, actually.
Yes.
No. No, but I mean, like, we are getting to that point. And actually, one of the episodes, the one before this one, is going to be talking about, it's talking about cultural adaptations, the topics we were just talking about. We're talking about the languages. We're talking about the adaptation to the local markets. Because, things that work here, they don't necessarily work in Lebanon. They don't necessarily work in Jordan.
Right.
Even though we're all speaking Arabic, for example, as a nation. But yeah, at the end of the day, knowing your own customers.
Even though like something works in Dubai, doesn't work in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, definitely. It doesn't work in Sharjah, doesn't work in Ajman. Exactly. It depends on the consumer and the behavior, on the income level, everything. It depends on everything. Exactly. So thank you so much for being with us. And again, thank you, Basel, for arranging for this amazing episode. My pleasure. I hope that everyone enjoyed this conversation. And I hope that you stay tuned for our next episode. Thank you for joining the 4th episode of the Marketing Talks podcast. If you have any comments or if you have any suggestions for future topics to be discussed, please leave them in the comments section. And if you need to reach out to any of those experts, you will find them on the Instagram post, of course, that is relevant to this one. Thank you again.